Yay.
Toppy.
Hey, just a quick note. Have you guys...
Toppy Oz 3.
Toppy
I
Oz 3.
lost it.
G'day everyone, this is episode 24 of AT3 and we are your Aussie Top 3. My name is Greg, aka Captain Boomerang, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow Aussies, the Stinger, Steve Ray, and little Sherby, Stacey Herbert. What's happening, guys?
Not a lot. Has anything big happened in wrestling this week?
I don't know. Has it? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
It's been pretty boring.
Yeah, nothing much has happened.
No.
Just the greatest superstar of the 2000s has come back.
Ooh,
Brock Lesnar.
2010s.
that's a big call.
I was going to say Brock Lesnar. What?
Yeah, Brock Lesnar. Yeah. With his fucking top knot.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I want to cut that off.
He looks like a Viking.
He does.
Yeah.
Because when he showed up, I was like, who is that? And like, well, not with the music, because I just saw the what do you call it? The thumbnail on what's it, YouTube or whatever. And it was just like, who is that? And I'm like, is that Strowman? Like, is he? And then because I was just on my phone, so it's only small. So then I clicked on the highlights thing, and I was just like, oh, it's Brock. Fuck. I'm like, wow. Like, I would never have picked it to be Brock of all people, just because.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, beard. And like top knot, the shaved bit, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" So,
and he had jeans on and a
Yeah.
tank top. He didn't have his shorts on.
he
and-
looked
and
like
yeah, it
he's
was-
like trimmed down a bit, but he's still like huge. But
he would have been juicing. Don't worry about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But more importantly, the best in the world is back.
I'll be damned. I
Yes.
honestly, like, even with the dirt sheets, I thought there's no way it's happening, but I'm
Yeah.
shocked.
How did the hat
And-
taste, Stacey?
Delicious. But yeah, it was a very nice comeback, huge moment, and might be time for me to start tuning into AEW to give it a chance, because
Yeah.
I mean, WWE isn't giving me much these
Well,
days.
Well,
No.
I said the other day that there's big rumors of Adam Cole going there too. Daniel Bryan possibly going there. Like,
I thought
it's got
Brian
me
had already
interested.
signed. I thought he was
Well,
already.
Yeah, we might. I don't know. He probably has.
Oh.
It's just got me interested in wrestling again at the moment. Like, it's
Mm.
none of this stale crap. It's
And of course,
interesting.
for anyone that's listening to this show that is under a rock, we are of course talking about CM Punk.
Yes.
But yeah, and I was a bit like Stace as well. I was like, I'll believe it when I see it, because I mean, literally, I think at least once a year, every year
Oh yeah.
since he left, Meltzer and his fucking dipshit mates have been like, oh, Punk's coming back. He's definitely coming back. It's like,
It's happening.
yeah.
He's coming back at Chicago, remember? And his music hit.
That's right. And it's just like, he was coming back, but plans changed. Oh, fuck off, Dave.
Yeah.
You don't know anything.
Yeah. And the Young Bucks have been really teasing Adam Cole coming, so that I can't wait. If I get CM Punk versus Adam Cole, I will lose my shit.
That would be cool.
Be so good.
So yeah, I may have to have a bit of a look. I know I give them a lot of shit, and I'm always like, oh, fucking AEW, fucking Sport Monkeys, or whatever. But like,
Okay, you can just skip Cody's matches.
Yeah,
we don't have to watch Cody. That's fine.
Yeah, good. Well, I'll need a piss break, so that'd be good.
Yeah, true. True.
But yeah, I'm thinking, I might give it. I might give it a chance. We'll see. So, because obviously, like Punk, my only concern is CM Punk was like the best at the time, but he also had some awesome people to work with, like Brock, Taker, Cena, Daniel Bryan, these sorts of people, Jericho. Whereas in AEW, like, do I really give two shits about Darby Allin? Like,
yeah, But you talk like, I know this is going back even further, but Punk in Ring of Honor, he was the shit. He was the hottest, independent wrestler in the world at that time, and he didn't have all those big names to work with. So I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't mean that he would be any less. I just think like, do I care if Punk is just wrestling these guys that I don't?
Yeah.
Oh fuck you! Just want to watch Punk, mate.
I
That's
don't
the
know.
thing.
But it's like, but he's not. Like he beat Darby Allin. Like who cares? I don't care. But a good match is a good match. So maybe that will make me a Darby Allin fan. You know what I mean? Because I watched it because of Punk. But wow, this kid's fucking really good. So.
Yeah,
that's the thing as well. And I mean, he can have another match with Jericho, obviously, if they want. But
well, even Omega, like that'll be like a lot of people would like that.
Again, we give Kenny a lot of shit too, but like he is a very good wrestler. It's just that he just might not be as good as he fucking thinks he is. That's all.
That's right.
And I don't care what anyone says. He's untested. He is. He is still untested because as shit as WWE is at the moment, it's still the big leagues. And to me, if you've never been in WWE, you've never been fully tested.
Well, it says a lot about how it's going at the moment. I mean, apparently Adam Cole was offered a $1 million contract and he could choose whether he went to Raw or SmackDown. And apparently he's knocked that back. I think because he realizes once he moves out of NXT, he becomes Vince's property and he's not Triple H's property anymore.
He'll be in our next next edition of NXT
like
Graveyard.
Bronson fucking Reed. How'd they go and get rid of him? What a load of shit. Anyway, that's another story.
Well, with SummerSlam 2021 behind us, for good or bad, depending on what you thought of the show, we thought we'd take a look at past editions of the very same pay-per-view for this episode. And we're going to announce our top 3 greatest SummerSlam moments. So this was, I don't know about you guys, this was tough for me as well.
Oh,
I think I could easily have 8 or 9 and be like, and tomorrow my top 3 might be like, oh, shit, I should have done that one instead.
Yeah.
Because over the years, there's been a lot of shit too, but I mean, there's really has been some awesome SummerSlam moments. So of course, when we say moments, we're not just confining it to matches. It can be, promos, backstage stuff, in-ring, like angles, whatever. So, but yeah, let's get to it. We always start ladies first. So Stacey, what have you chosen to begin your top 3 greatest SummerSlam moments?
Yep. So I've decided to pick a match for this one. And seems like a fitting one to start on given our conversation just before. And that is John Cena versus CM Punk at SummerSlam 2011.
Is that with the Del Rio cash in? Is that the
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes, Steve.
I'm just sitting here quietly, not going to say a word.
Okay. So this is definitely a standout SummerSlam moment or match for me. I honestly feel like CM Punk, probably next to Kurt Angle, was like John Cena's best opponent. I think their feud was an absolute highlight of 2011. Really must-watch television. And this match was coming off Money in the Bank, which was about a month earlier in Chicago. Everyone knows it. So Punk's contract was nearing expiry, and he ended up walking away with the title. And at that time, the kind of line between kayfabe and reality was really blurred because a lot of people didn't know like if he was legitimately gone and if he would re-sign with the company. So yeah, just before this match, Punk returned on, I think it was an episode of Raw, and in between this time they'd replaced the WWE title because, kayfabe, Punk had taken it, so they needed a new one. So they replaced it with an identical looking belt, which John Cena ended up winning. Don't need to know why. He's John Cena. And Punk ends up returning a couple weeks later, and they're kind of both holding up the belts, and it's like, who's a real champion? Anyway, they end up facing off at SummerSlam 2011 with Triple H as a special guest referee. He kind of got involved in that because it was sort of amongst the kind of tension, I guess, with CM Punk and like the Authority, I guess, like the McMahons, Triple H. Anyway, although this was not a 5-star match, the Money in the Bank was officially a 5-star match, but this was definitely still a favorite match of mine. Any match these two guys had was a highlight and must watch for me, and that's why it's in my top 3.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Lucky I have about 7 or 8 to choose from because of it being Punk, it was going to be in my top 3 as well. But no, look, I totally agree. It was probably Punk at his best, and it certainly Cena was definitely. It showed that he was more than just the 5 moves of doom in this series against Punk. But that match definitely, one of my favorite.
Yeah, Cena really, in my opinion, worked the best kind of in the face of what's the word I'm thinking of? Someone help me out here.
What's that?
Cena works the best, I think, when all the odds are against him. Like when it comes to like ECW One Night Stand.
I guess he's got to prove himself.
Yeah. Like when the whole crowd is against him, Cena really like steps up to the plate. That could absolutely like shatter the confidence of so many wrestlers, but it's moments like that show like why Cena was the top guy and how good he was at his job, because he wasn't shaken by an ECW crowd, he wasn't shaken by a Chicago crowd, a pro CM Punk crowd. Like, you know, CM Punk was the fan favorite in that building, even though he was a heel. But yeah, these two just worked amazing together. They 100% brought out the best in each other. And yeah, I could watch them wrestle 100 other matches.
Well, Cena has that ability the same way that The Rock had it, where even if the crowd is like booing him and they hate everything you're doing and everything you do is, you know, gets a negative reaction, he doesn't lean into the heel stuff like, oh well, fuck you then, and start being like giving shit to the crowd then, and like, well, fuck you people. Like he doesn't. He just stays as the baby face. He just doesn't react to the crowd, and it's just like, all right, they're booing me. That's all right. It just keeps doing his thing. Whereas a lot of other wrestlers then go like, oh well, they're booing me, so I should act like a heel. It's like, well, not if you're not meant to be heel right now, you know. And like Rock did the same thing in the match with Hogan. Like he could have very much gone into that like, well, they're in Canada, and I mean it was a split crowd, but not at the start. Like when that match started, it was like, you know, 80% people cheering for Hogan's moves, but like the things Hogan was doing, and people booing everything The Rock did. But The Rock didn't sort of start like, you know, mouthing off to the crowd or doing some more heel moves or anything like that. He just stuck with it and just keep going, and you're babyface, because at the end of the match when you win, you're still going to be the babyface, and you've got to turn up to Raw tomorrow and you're not going to be heel then, so, you know, stick with it. And Cena kind of does the same thing. Cena did the same thing in that match with AJ a few years ago as well. I hope I haven't stood on anyone's toes there and picked that, but like, because that was SummerSlam as well. But you know, most of the crowd were cheering for AJ Styles, and yet Cena just, it's all right, you can cheer for him. I'm just going to keep doing my Cena stuff and doing my thing, and blah, blah. Oh, look, I pulled out a Canadian destroyer. You didn't think that would happen, did you? I was like, holy fuck. So yeah, it's just shit like that. But yeah, so for Cena to be able to like keep his cool in that match against Punk, it does show. Like everyone's always like, oh, Cena sucks, whatever, but it's like, well, he's there for a reason. He was very good at what he did. It's just that the company then like overdid it like they do with everyone. They did the same thing to Hogan. They started doing the same thing with Austin and Rock and, you know, Bret Hart. And it's just like, you know, but that lead up to the match with Punk, I like, there's some good stuff and then there's some like missteps as well, because like I don't remember, like when they said, oh, we need a new WWE champion because Punk left and strip him of the belt and all that kind of shit. Like they had a tournament on Raw and like Rey Mysterio won.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it was like, Rey Mysterio is the WWE champion. It's like, oh, but now you have to fight John Cena. And it's like, and then he lost it.
Why?
Yeah. So like then he like, why don't you just give it to Cena straight away? Like, fuck, I don't know. It's just weird.
And then the whole storyline is like Punk's taken the belt, he's gone away. He said, oh, you know, I'll go to Ring of Honor, blah blah blah, and he's back in a week's time. It was like, talk about fucking quick booking. It was just it would have been good if he had how good would it have been if he had turned up at Ring of Honor? Or another show they were affiliated with, and he just put the title on the line against some jobber there or something. Just, you know, it would have been awesome.
Yeah, just a one-off match somewhere.
Yeah.
I wish they kind of let it simmer for a bit longer, because some of the stuff they did do was awesome. Like, I absolutely love they had him like rock up to San Diego Comic-Con in the convention center, like during that panel, and it's just amazing stuff. Again, it's kind of it's obviously scripted, but it doesn't seem scripted because there's no like WWE cameras there. It's just, I wish they sat on it a little bit longer. And if he had have taken the belt somewhere else, even like if they had NXT back then, like if NXT was there like doing what it's doing now, like if he took it onto that show and just said, hey, someone challenged me for it, like that would have been interesting. But it was still like amazing feud nonetheless, like definitely a favorite of mine. And this match was definitely a payoff. Like I think a lot of us can agree that Money in the Bank was more exciting because it had that Chicago crowd that was hot, but the SummerSlam match was a real payoff because the whole attitude was, Punk won, you know, in his hometown. That's all well and good, but can he beat Cena in like LA, you know, when the crowd's not all for him? And he did. And, you know, WWE put a lot of faith in him to put him over their top guy.
But even the way they did it as well, like with Triple H as the ref, you know, like at one point he throws them both back in the ring and all that kind of shit. Like they were getting counted out and he's just like, nope, I'm not having that. And he's picked up Punk and threw him in the ring, and he picks up Cena and throws him in the ring. And it's just like, fucking, we're having a winner, you know, like it should have been a count out, double count out, but they're like, nope, not doing that. But then the ending of the match too, it still sort of protected Cena a little bit as well, because he had his foot on the rope and Triple H just didn't see it and counted the 3. And then of course, you know, even then, like Cena doesn't like turn, you know, and be like, what the fuck? Like he just he had a bit of like, oh, what's going on? Like he fucked this up, but like it was just like, don't worry about it. So but anyway, that's where we got Cult of Personality as well with that
that when he's come back,
when he turned up when Punk turned up at Raw as well. That was so which beforehand he had the I don't know, the band, or it was
Kill Switch Engage.
That's the one,
that's
right. The full fucking like that was a good. I like that theme that he had.
It was a good theme.
Yeah, it was.
So, but because I remember thinking like, because I knew the song, but I didn't know any of his indie stuff or anything like that with Punk. So it was like, what's this? And I'm like, who is this? That's like, who's got, you know, Living Color? Like, who's no one? Is this some new guy? Like, what's going on? And then when he walked out, I'm like, oh, it's Punk. All right. Like, but I just, because I didn't, like I said, I used that song on the indies or whatever. I had no idea. So.
Yeah. One thing I didn't realize until actually this week when I was having a chat to my boyfriend about his return is that like he owns the rights to use that song. So like WWE didn't have any of the rights to that. So he can use it wherever he goes, which is awesome.
I thought
he's
Tony
pretty
Khan
smart in it.
Bought it out. I thought that's what I heard. He had paid the rights for the song. That's why they were all saying he's definitely going to be there because Tony Khan just bought the rights to use that song or something like that. But that might have been.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the case or not. But that's what I heard. So it doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
it could be, like you said, it could be that punk.
If you read it on the internet, it must be true.
That's
Yeah,
right.
on Dave Meltzer's website.
No, I saw it on Twitter. So, it's
even better.
It's definitely for reals. Yeah. Yeah. But no, Punk Cena 2011. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Gotta love
Can't
it.
go wrong.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Alrighty. So, Steve, since knocked one out already. What else have you got?
No, like you said, there's plenty to choose from.
There is. There's a lot.
My one is going back to 2000. It's the TLC match. It's SummerSlam 2000.
Nice.
For weeks and even months, Edge and Christian, the Hardys and the Dudley Boys were going back and forth against each other. Dudley's had the tables, Edge and Christian had the chairs, and Hardys had the ladders. They were having ladder matches, they were having table matches, and then all of a sudden they've just decided, hey, let's have a tables, ladders, and chairs match. And look, it was the this one was the very first one. It wasn't the best one they had, but it was the most memorable, I believe, because like you hear they're having a tables, ladders, and chairs match, and you're thinking, what the fuck are they going to do? Like, we've seen it all before, individual matches, but then they come out with this, and it's just like, holy shit. There's a few things that, sorry, edit point.
He's got the Rona.
Yeah, got the Rona. Bubba Ray Dudley was sent flying from the ladder through 4 tables. Lita even got involved. Matt Hardy went through 2 tables. Edge and Christian ended up winning, even though it was in the Hardys' hometown of North Carolina, which these days you just wouldn't see that. It's just, for me, it's probably one of the most iconic matches that's happened at a SummerSlam event.
I can't believe I didn't think to pick that. And sorry for anyone who hears me swearing under my breath when Steve announced his pick, because I thought he took my pick from the same show. I digress. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't think of that, because when I think of TLC, I always think of WrestleMania.
Yes.
Which WrestleMania is it again? 18?
2000, yeah.
17? Something like that.
17, I think.
Yeah,
with the
17. Yeah,
because that's Rock Hogan as well. I think it was the same show.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Yeah, I was thinking of No Mercy as well. They had I don't know. That might have just been a ladder match. I can't remember, but there was. I think it was that. Actually, yeah, I think it was. I think it was just a ladder match. It was Hardys and I think it was Hardys and Edge and Christian. I think that was what I'm thinking of. But yeah. First TLC, that's a pretty big deal. So
yeah, it really started it all, and obviously they just continued to expand on it from there.
Yeah. Well, they even made a pay-per-view out of it, which I don't believe there should be. It should just be like a single match. But I mean, it showed how important it was for the company, I believe. And like the Dudley Boys were huge from ECW, but it put them over mainstream. Edge and Christian and Jeff and Matt, they were big during the Attitude Era, but this really put them, on the map too. So all 3 tag teams got a lot out of this match.
Yeah, it sort of is that the one where then on Raw the next night when Edge and Christian were like, they didn't turn face, but they were like shaking hands with the Hardy Boys and that? Is that? There was one match where they all destroyed each other, and then the next night they were just like, look, we give you a lot of shit and like fuck these people and all that, but it was a good match, and shaking hands and all that kind of shit. I think that was there the next night. So
possibly was, yeah.
Because they were all like, oh, we killed each other, fuck. So, but yeah, they're always good. Any time you put those 3 teams together, it was always just like, this will be great,
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't get that big spot with Matt and Bubba Ray Dudley, you know, going through like 18 tables or whatever. It's like without it starting somewhere. And obviously, like SummerSlam. And like for SummerSlam, like 2000, like back then, everything was like WrestleMania 2000 and, you know, Backlash 2000, because it was like, we're in the future, guys. Like, you know, it's holy shit. But
the millennium.
That's it. Like,
Y2K.
Y2K. Take your money out the bank, guys. You lose it.
But yeah, I think like that really, it was the beginning of not just like a new type of match, but just it made them bankable, like those three teams, because you're like, you could see like, oh shit, like what's happening? Well, these three teams are having a match again. Oh fuck yeah, I want to see that. So especially when you then threw in the outside, like they all had their little helper kind of thing, you know, like Edge and Christian had Rhino for a bit, like sort of being like the outside interference guys, and then that was like a stark contrast to Spike Dudley, who would turn up and be like this little dude. But then you had Lita, and it was like, oh, she's different again because she's a woman, but she's doing like hurricanranas, all this kind of shit. And then, you know, she's doing a lot of like Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy shit as well, with jumping off the top rope. And, you know, you had three definitively different teams, and then their sort of unofficial third members, who were all very different as well. Because I mean, if you look at Rhino and Spike Dudley and Lita, it's like this, you couldn't, you know, they're pretty three different looking people. So with different skill sets. So I thought they added a lot to those sort of rivalries as well. It was just like, here comes Rhino, and it's like, oh, here comes Spike Dudley, he's gonna even the odds. Oh, Spike just got killed again.
Well, I mean, you knew they were going to get involved too, eh? You knew they were always there to get involved,
and it just added to it because they each had their little, like their sort of, not a sidekick, but you know what I mean, like it was so I thought, and obviously with the first match is always sort of the one to kick it off. So well, that's a good pick. Mine is a match we've discussed before, but it's also a first. And it's the 1995 ladder match with Razor and HBK.
Nice.
So I figure in kind of the, like, I mean, we have spoken about it before, but in the same kind of vein of the TLC, you know what I mean? It's like, well, this is the one that kind of started it all. And it was like, at the time, no one had seen a ladder match before. You know, it was, holy shit, or not on the main stage, like mainstream, you know, WWF sort of stage, you know. So, and for that to be, you know, like, well, this is what we're going to do with it, and like, holy shit, like you can just hit him with the ladder, fuck, all right. Like, what's, you know, and you jump off it, and all kinds of shit. So I had to go with that. So and being a, you know, a big Scott Hall fan, I always, you know, and I mean Shawn Michaels too, but you know, Ray, well, I mean, I like Razor, but I always like Scott Hall when he's just kind of Scott Hall, like with the NWO. But I had to go for that one as well, partly because of the match itself, but also because, like we said, of the legacy that came after it. With just, I mean, now ladder matches, people don't blink twice at it, but it's like it all started somewhere, and that's where it started. So
no, good choice, definitely a good choice. It was weird too, also to see, like, you know, Shawn Michaels was, you know, he's not a high flyer, but he could do all that stuff. But you look at Scott Hall, you're like, how's he gonna climb the ladder? What's he gonna do? He's too big. But you know, he certainly showed that he could do it. But yeah, it's definitely, it's without that, you don't have the ladder matches you have these days.
Like, people forget that Scott Hall is like a massive dude, because he's always standing next to Kevin Nash, who's like half a foot taller than him. So you think, like, who's the short guy? It's like Scott Hall is like 6'5". Like, he's fucking huge. You know?
Massive.
Even now, with old and drug fucked or whatever, he's probably at least still 6'4". You know, like at least. So it's just that Nash is a fucking monster. So for him to be, and that's what they always say, like, you know, for Scott Hall to be to be so drunk and so fucked up on drugs and all this kind of shit. It's like, he's a big dude. So he's taken like all the drugs. It's like, you know, like
he's taking a tranquilizer.
Yeah, it's he's not like a little dude that has half a beer and it's like, oh, I'm fucking pissed. It's like, no, he's a big guy. Like, so it's not, he hasn't just had a couple of drinks. He's had everybody's drinks. Yeah. But yeah,
and they just work so well together. Those two, like,
it's
amazing.
It's that you know, anytime you get guys in the ring, they're friends and stuff, and they respect each other and shit. You're always going to have the same kind of, you know, thing. But yeah, I like the fact that you hear the stories of how they like with Pat Patterson, and it was like, right, so when you both fall off the ladder and you just lie there and then like wait for the crowd to die down and then lie there longer, and then just when you think it's time to get up, lie there longer, you know. And Scott Hall's just like, no, you got to get up and do something. And he's like, no, resist it, just lie there longer and longer. And then when you do get up, they'll go bananas, you know, like they always say, Pat Patterson. But like, yeah, just the fact that he was involved as well, it, you know, clearly shows all the influence that Patterson had on finishes and just ring psychology and booking and all that kind of stuff. Whereas like now it'd just be like, oh fuck, you know, they'd all be kicking out of their finishes 10 times, and like the ladder would be in play after like 30 seconds, and it's just you'd have 10 spots where like all of a sudden people forget how to climb a ladder.
There'd be a Canadian off the ladder, and then
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And they'd just pop straight back up and do another Canadian, and
into a super kick, and then
10 more super kicks.
That's right, yeah. But and especially I also like it too because it had the uniqueness of like that the Intercontinental Championship, you know, like I'm the champ, a bit like the Punk scene in there. Like, I'm the champ. No, I'm the champ. Well, fuck you. We'll have a ladder and we'll hang them both from the thing. Like, it was the uniqueness of it. Like, that had never been done before. Yeah. So the Cena Punk thing, it did remind people of that because it all had to start somewhere where it was like, but he's the champion with the title belt. Yeah, but so is he. Oh, well, let's have a match. And what can we do with it? So, and rather than just have a match, they had the first ladder match, and that was a fucking cracker. So
So that's when Sean lost his smile, eh? He went away.
yeah. He won though as well. It's just like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? It's like, I wish I was as big as Scott, then I could drink more.
He just took more pain pills, mate. That's all he did.
Look, he just hadn't found Jesus yet. All right.
True, very true.
Yes,
his life must be super boring now that he did, but he doesn't do anything.
No,
look, to be fair, like, what, he's in his 40s now or 50s?
50s.
Michaels, he's like
50s
by now.
50s,
oh yeah, sorry. I don't know where I got 40s from.
Yeah, I don't think he's too bored at home, considering he's just, you know, living with one of the Nitro girls. I think he's all right.
Yeah, and he runs NXT with Triple H too, so like he's still doing something. But
although she might not be what she was after Jericho punched her in the face.
God. I thought you were going to say after aging 25 years, but you know.
Yeah.
No, I think if anything did the damage, it was Jericho being like this time at his worked punch and just being like, bam! Oh, sorry. And that split second we see Shawn Michaels be like, what the fuck?
Oh, fuck.
He just punched my wife, like legit. Like, do I fight him? What the fuck? It's just it's like the worst thing to say is a great moment, but like it really is, just because I'm like, holy fuck, like, so. And it showed the professionalism of them, but
for sure,
I don't want to go off on that. That's a different episode, but
different story.
Yeah, HBK, Razor Ramon, 2 IC titles, ladder match. That was my first pick.
Nice, good pick.
All right, we're back to you, Stace.
Yep. Okay, so I already revealed that my next pick is from SummerSlam 2000, same pay-per-view as the first TLC match. So my moment is not a match, but it is within a match. And it's Shane McMahon's like 50 feet fall from his match with Steve Blackman at SummerSlam 2000. So this was the first of Shane's absolutely batshit crazy spots, and I still personally think that it is the best one. He's obviously jumped from the Titantron before, but this is different because he fell backwards. Like, I can't even imagine the terror of falling backwards and just hoping for the best. And it's just absolutely brutal to watch. Like, we've seen some pretty friggin' crazy spots, like 20 years later, but very few compared to this. And like, I think I can speak for everyone when I say everyone who was watching that was unsure if he was even alive or functioning after that spot. And the thing that is so crazy to me is that Shane is the boss's son. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to go out and earn his check. He doesn't have to go out and prove himself to the guys backstage, but he still did it, and he continued to do it many years later. And yeah, I always really highly respected Shane for doing that, because he knew that he wasn't a great wrestler, because he wasn't a wrestler at the end of the day. He obviously eventually trained up and was able to get by in the ring, but that early in his career, he certainly wasn't. So I guess he thought, how can I make this entertaining? I'm just going to absolutely kill myself in front of everyone.
Yeah. No, that was I remember watching that going, holy shit. Like, what he's, because I remember him, it was Blackman, wasn't it? They were climbing up that, the pillar thing, and Blackman's hitting him with the kendo stick. I'm thinking, no, he's not. No, he's not. Holy fuck, he did. And I'm just thinking, he's dead. He's got to be dead.
And the build up to it is amazing, because Blackman hits him like once, he kind of wobbles, twice, he wobbles again, and then 3 times, and it's like he falls in slow motion. It's just
it's the kind of like before like that was Shane's thing. I think most people were expecting like, oh, here's where he grabs Blackman and slams his head into the thing or something like that, you know what I mean? And they wrestle back down to the bottom or something like that, but like then all of a sudden he just falls. Like you said, he just falls backwards out of nowhere. It's like, holy fuck. Like he doesn't jump. He just falls. And it's like, oh shit. And then, like 30 seconds later or whatever, Blackman drops the elbow on him as well. Yeah. So it's like that could have gone wrong too, because not only is that a dangerous spot in the first place, and lets us like, there's the potential that Shane has hurt himself. I mean, there's padded things and whatever else, but like he still does go through the table as well. So even like a whatever balsa wood table, or with padding underneath, like it's from that height, it's still going to hurt.
Oh, it's still going to kill
to a certain degree. You know what I mean? But like, so you have to assume he isn't injured, but he could be. And now you've got Blackman jumping off almost the same height to drop an elbow on him, which isn't going to hurt him as long as you don't land on him. But like, this wasn't
kayfabe, don't ruin it.
No, but like this, I mean, like this wasn't Shawn Michaels or CM Punk or Jeff Hardy or someone who's like, I'm a good wrestler, I won't land on you. It's Blackman. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't a great wrestler, so he could have just jumped off and gone, oh, whoops, and like legitimately landed like his body on Shane, and that would have really fucked him up. So, but thankfully he did land, the worked elbow kind of thing. And I mean, it's still impressive, but like the risk of catastrophe is so enormous in that moment. It's like, holy fuck. Like when you analyze it, like when you watch it, you're just like, that's awesome. But when you look back at it, you think like, oh, it's so awesome. And it's even more awesome because it could have been deadly.
Yeah. And the difference with Blackman is he climbs down a bit before he jumps off and hits the elbow, and he can fucking see what he's doing, like he can try and aim where he's going, whereas Shane is, you don't see him look behind his shoulder. He just falls back and hopes for the best.
Yeah. And he wouldn't have practiced that. There's no way he would have practiced something from that height. That would have been a one and done type situation. So, yeah.
The only way he would have practiced it is if they had one of those big, like, with those big stuntman air cushion things.
Inflatable cushion things.
Just to be like, how far out can you fall? Okay, that's good. Try again. See if you can go further. All right, like that. Okay, cool. All right, so do it exactly like that, because now we're not going to have the big inflatable cushion thing. We're going to have the tape. So... yeah, and I mean, I don't know if they did that or not, but that's the only way they could really practice it. So, because I mean, you could jump into those things 100 times and you weigh it yourself.
Yeah, so. I don't know why, but I'd actually forgotten about that. And doing research for this show, I saw that again. I'm like, holy fuck, that's right. I
had forgotten it was Blackman. I think I had all my Shane dangerous moments have all sort of conglomerated into that one King of the Ring match with Angle.
Oh,
and so it's just in my head. I'm like, oh, that was at that event, and I'm like, oh no, it wasn't. That was different. But yeah, it's all just, I think, because so many fucking holy shit spots are in that match with Angle. It's just like, dude, like Vince had to send the ref out to be like, stop hurting my son.
Like, didn't he try and suplex him like 5 times through the glass or something? He didn't go through it,
and then he did it the hard way. Like, that's why it was like, it's not going to break. It's not, you're throwing him into a real window. This isn't the gimmicked one. And then Angle was like, well, what do we do? And he's like, I'm just going to throw you through the fucking window. So he does. And that's why he threw him through head first.
Yeah.
He stopped trying to flip him because it was like, this is, no. You've already gone through the gimmicked one. It's like, oh, I thought they were all gimmicked. No, they're not. It's like, well, you can't not put him through it now because you've just tried it 5 times. So that's where he grabs him by the back of the neck and just throws him face first through the fucking glass.
I mean, I give Shane all the props for that. He never holds back in a match. He puts everything into it.
Yeah. That is one of the all-time, like, full on, like, holy fuck, like, matches. Like, to me, that match has more. I mean, the Hell in a Cell with Foley and Undertaker, obviously rightly so, everyone's like, oh my god, but like, I think the Angle McMahon one at King of the Ring, that was even more dangerous because it was like, what are you doing? Like,
especially because Shane's not a big guy, and he didn't have a lot of muscle on him. So, like, a bigger guy would be able to kind of, I guess, take the brunt of those spots. But that would have to have hurt.
I don't care who you are. I mean, like, you throw Brock Lesnar head first through, a 10-foot pane of glass, like, it's gonna hurt him. It's just how well you recover, but just madness.
But you'd want to hope he stays down because he'd kill you if he got back up.
That's right. Yeah. Touch my top knot, motherfucker.
Fucking, that's what someone needs to do. Just come out with a pair of scissors and pretend they cut the top.
Oh, it's all set up, dude. Don't you see where they're going? Meltzer. I heard from Meltzer, it's going to be the return of Brutus the Barber.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus v. Brock. It's the WrestleMania match we all want to see.
Yeah. Hogan as special guest referee.
That's right.
Oh, God.
Yep. Hogan, who has the true streak at SummerSlam of 6-0, by the way.
He does, yeah, you're right. You're right. Only because Shawn Michaels decided to.
Yeah. I thought about picking that just for shits and giggles.
Jesus.
Oh, me too. I was going to see what Stacey's reaction was.
Good old Shane almost killing himself. What a champ.
Yeah, it's what he does best.
Okay, Steve, you're up.
Okay, I got one. It's another match, but it's probably one of the best technical matches you'll ever see. It's from SummerSlam 1991. Bret Hart versus Kurt Hennig.
I had that.
one might say it's the perfect match.
Yes.
See what I did there? Just what those two, in their prime. amazing technical match to watch. Also, it was Bret Hart's first singles championship. And, I now know, obviously, from, back then it was like, oh my God, he beat Kurt Hennig, he beat Mr. Perfect. But, Mr. Perfect had a bad back. He was taking time off after this, so he obviously had to drop the belt. But just to see those two go at it in the ring and, like I said, in their prime, and just it's amazing. And it's one of those matches where you can still go back today and watch it and go, when Bret's not a cranky old man, he actually can put on a show.
Oh yeah, I literally had that in my list for pretty much like the exact same reasons you said.
Yeah.
Bret Hart's first singles championship, Mr. Perfect, top of his game. Amazing technical skills as far as like a full on, like it's a wrestler's wrestling match,
Yes.
Hart kicks out of the perfect plex or whatever.
That's right.
And Piper is there being like, he's the first one that's ever done that. It's like, I don't think he was, but let's roll with it.
Let's say that. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no worries. And then just the sheer like, it is like a lot of people that like the pyro and ballyhoo kind of angle stuff of wrestling, which I love all that stuff too. I'm more of a character guy than an in-ring, like devotee kind of thing. But for that one, that's one where even I'm like, I don't need a story or anything for this match. Like, it's so good. I just want to watch it. So,
yeah. And it was in Madison Square Garden as well. It's the home of wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. Have you seen that one, Stace?
I cannot actually remember. But
obviously 91 is a lot, it's a lot different for us than for you. So.
Yes. My memory is very fuzzy. So I guess a bit of a backstory. I've explained, like, I started watching wrestling when I was in primary school. I was about 6 or 7 or 8 years old, and the way I watched it back in the day was on videotape. So we just got videotapes from family friend of just random pay-per-views, so I wasn't really able to watch the product like regularly back then and see every pay-per-view. So I honestly can't remember.
I didn't see it in 1991. You know what I mean?
No, me neither.
Yeah.
It's probably a year after when it came out on VHS.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that match until probably, way after, because like I said, at the time, even then I was just like, well, not 91 or, but like even in sort of 95, 96, whatever, I was just like, what's the NWO doing? Like, I get, like, here's this great 30-minute match. Well, I don't give a fuck. I just want to see what happened. It was more into the soap opera shit of it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, having gone, because obviously, and Hennig and Hart are two of my guys too, we always joke that, like, if he's got an H in his name, Greg will probably like him. Because, Uncle Terry, Scott Hall, Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig, they're probably my top 4 of all time. So
HBK.
Yeah. So, and then of course you get into some other guys like Piper and stuff like that, but like, and Randy Savage.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Adam Cole.
There's an H in Macho, so
there we go.
Bit of a stretch.
But yeah, it was always Hogan, Hall, Hart, Hennig. They were sort of my 4 guys. So
dream team.
That's it. And
there's your Mount Rushmore there.
One's dead, one's a drunk, one's a fucking bitter shell of a man, and the other one's Uncle Terry. So what a team. I'm definitely not Nick Fury. But yeah, no, that's a cracker. Like I said, I had that on my list, but for all the reasons we've said, if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it.
Definitely.
Stacey, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Too, so.
I think I should go back and watch this.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with a match as well. From 2001. WWF title match, which was Kurt Angle versus Steve Austin, sort of right in the midst of their sort of feud where Austin was the heel and Angle was the babyface, and they had essentially switched characters because now you have Austin as this kind of delusional, sometimes almost goofy heel who would then have this vicious streak, which, you know, would pretty much perfectly sums up Angle as a heel when he was, you know, when he first came into it. But then you've got Angle as the fucking stand up, won't give in, gives no shits, fucking, you know, turning up, taking names, you know, character as like the rebel kind of thing. And it's like, but that's Austin's character. So this is sort of built and with the whole like invasion thing and all this kind of shit. But the invasion angle obviously cops a lot of shit, and rightfully so, because it was kind of mishandled and they didn't really plan it well from the get-go, and you didn't have the likes of Nash and Hall and Sting and Goldberg and these kind of Scott Steiner and Eric Bischoff even sort of coming in to make it a real like WCW v WWF kind of thing. But the Angle Austin stuff was really good. So, and the match at SummerSlam 2001, it pretty much has like, it would be up there, I think personally, in if like Austin's all-time best matches. I don't know if it's the best, but you know, be hard pressed, I think, to find matches of quality that are better, considering like that he's in it with Angle. In a similar way, like we said, where Cena worked the best with people like Punk and Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton and these great, you know, wrestlers who could bring out the best in Cena, and AJ Styles and these guys who can, he has to step up his game and he can't just do the 5 moves of doom, you know? Austin kind of had to do the same thing, because it was like, well, you're going to look like shit if you just go in there and do sort of punch, kick, stunner. Like, and this was Austin in 2001. His knees are fucked. His neck's fucked. You know, like he's not, you know, real keen to hang around. So, and he wasn't really that happy about still being a heel. After he, you know, turned on the Rock at WrestleMania and that kind of stuff. Like he always says he wishes he had then just flipped back and gone babyface the next night kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it had everything. It had Angle doing German suplexes on Austin. You got the moonsault, you know, but he actually lands it in this match. It's normally the spot where he jumps and flips and lands flat on his face. This one, he lands it on Austin. They both get bloodied at some point. You know, it's, you know, there's kick outs of Angle slams and there's kick outs of stunners and all that, but it's not that like now where it's just overdone and like, oh, fuck, they're going to kick out everyone's moves like 18 times. And that means now the moves don't mean anything. Like they still meant shit because they had built to it. So, I mean, Austin pulls out the $1 Million Dream at one point. It's like, holy fuck, you know, like he's doing all kinds of shit. So I just think that match itself and the ending as well, where like the refs, there's a couple of ref bumps and then Austin like definitively takes out a ref a couple of times to stop, you know, Angle from winning. And Angle has him pinned and the WCW ref comes in, good old Nick Patrick. He comes sliding in to count the 3-4 for Angle and then goes, hang on a second, and looks around and he's like, wait a minute, I'm going to disqualify you, Steve Austin, because you took out these referees. And so Angle wins because Austin's disqualified, but Austin keeps the title. And so it was like a screw job without it being a screw job. You know what I mean? Because Angle won the match, but the ref was like, oh, I'm doing the right thing and disqualifying. I was like, fuck off. And then so Angle, you know, goes nuts and takes his shit out on the fucking the WCW ref with ankle locks and all this kind of stuff, which is a very like typical thing that Austin would have done when he was getting screwed by Vince and stuff like that, you know? So I just think the way it all came together and all that, and I mean, you know, Angle ended up winning the title off Austin on Raw soon after, and then because they flip it back and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I just think that match though, again, I think people have forgotten how fucking great that match is because it's tainted by the invasion angle and the shittiness of that overall. But the Austin Angle stuff is fucking great that came out of that. So yeah, I had to go for that one.
When you talk about your guys, Greg, right there is two of my guys there. It's Austin, Angle, HBK, and Piper. And you put two of those in a match, you really can't go wrong. And I really liked Austin as a heel. I mean, I liked everything Austin did, but it was a nice change, you know, after he sort of had done the baby face thing for quite a while, even though he was never really a baby face, you know.
I've said it before, but like I was never an Austin guy when Austin was like current. Big. You know what I mean? Like now I look back and be like, yeah, it's fucking cool. It's great. It was good, you know. But like at the time I was like, yeah, whatever. Like I liked The Rock better and I like Triple H better and people like that, you know. But when he was heel, in that invasion thing, and not so much the watch shit, but like the you know, like, you know, my watch is, you know what my watch is saying, and he'd be listening to it and then just and getting in people's faces backstage and just being like, you know, I don't deserve this, I'm the champion, just being like, it was different, like it was cool. And that's what started turning me around on him, and I'm like, okay, cool, it's not do you
remember when he was like playing guitar backstage and playing Kumbaya?
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. Just shit like that where I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. So it was
also him and Kurt Angle wearing those little hats and little guitars.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. But that's what sort of started turning me around on Austin. And then when it was, you know, that helped. And that match too, because it was like, fuck man, like, because at the time it was like even the most diehard Austin fans were like, his matches aren't really that great anymore because he's so damaged and broken, and you know. But Angle was like, well, you got to do something because you're in there with Angle now. So, and he brought it, and like that might be one of the most technical matches Austin's ever done, because he's working with Angle and they just complemented each other so well. So yeah, and just the weird finish too. Like normally I hate shit where it's just like, and then there's a DQ. Like, oh fuck this. Like just watched a 30-minute match to just be a fucking DQ, but it was well done because it ended the story and it screwed Angle. Like Angle won. He won the match, but he got screwed out of the title. So, but that then helped make it a bigger moment when I think it was the next week or whenever, or 2 weeks later or whatever, when he actually beat Austin for the title on Raw. So it was a bigger deal because it was like, yes, you know. So yeah. Which you probably didn't think I would pick Austin Angle sort of stuff, but yeah, that's how
it makes sense.
Rewatching stuff, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, like what was that match that they had? Was that at SummerSlam? Fuck, it was, yes. And then I rewatched it. I'm like, yeah, I still love this match. So yeah, and like I said, they're not two of my guys. I mean, I really like Angle, but I wouldn't say they were two of my guys. But yeah. Fucking great match. So yeah. Mm. All right, Stace, we're back to you.
Yep. I really can't believe that this wasn't picked earlier. Not to say that it's not on either of your lists yet to come, but my final pick would be it's sort of a moment and a match, I guess, but I'm sort of picking it for the moment in itself. And that is HBK's return in the ring.
For fuck's sake.
SummerSlam 2002. Snooze, you lose, Steve.
I had that as well. Yeah.
So it's unanimous. We all had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can end the show on a good note since we've all got thoughts on this one. Yeah. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's the moment in itself, because I don't think anyone expected Shawn Michaels to wrestle again after he had his career-threatening back injury, which was in 1998. And I don't think on top of that anyone would have expected he would come back so strong. like typically when wrestlers return from, major injuries, they're a bit more careful in the ring. They take less risks. But I've said it on the show so many times, and I will keep hammering it home. Like, from Shawn Michaels' return in 2002 is his best in-ring work. That is what I feel. It is incredible how good he was back then.
I think because he was so ahead of his time when he was like 30 or whatever. It was him and Bret Hart, and then like, well, who else? There's a couple of guys that could match it, but they're either drug fucked or they went to WCW. So, or like Owen, but they're like, oh, we've got a Hart. It's like, well, you got another one. But, whereas by the time Michaels came back, even though it was only 4 years, it gave sort of people, almost gave him a chance to catch up. And then, of course, when you get into the 2005, 6, 7, 8s, now you're getting people that are coming in and that like are almost the next generation of people that watched Shawn Michaels and wanted to be Shawn Michaels. So they, like Chris Jericho and people like that. So then he was able to have matches with people like Angle and Jericho, and then everyone lifted their game again with him as well, same as they did with like Undertaker, for instance. It's just like so.
I had
Sorry, you go.
I was gonna say, I know you're talking about SummerSlam, but I had a argument with a guy on Twitter. He was talking about why is Shawn Michaels called Mr. WrestleMania when he's got a losing record. Yeah. It's like, dude, it's not about the record. It's about the show that he puts on. Yeah. I said,
have you even seen Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania?
Yeah. And anyone who knows wrestling knows you don't have to win the match. You know what I mean? It's how you go in the match. And, he's put all these people over at WrestleMania, and a lot of them have gone on to be big stars, but just in the match itself, and not just at WrestleMania, you look at his body of work, like you said, Stacey, like he's just amazing. He's just one of the best ever.
He's Mr. WrestleMania because when WrestleMania was over, everyone was talking about Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
In his match. And half the time he wasn't the main event or whatever, but it was like, how was WrestleMania? Oh, fuck, you should have seen what Shawn Michaels did.
When we did our WrestleMania show, how many times did each of us, we look at a match, it's like, oh, Shawn Michaels. Oh, it's Shawn Michaels. Oh, it's Shawn Michaels, I mean, it's like...
Yeah, I had the Shawn Michaels angle, and like Stacey, you had Shawn Michaels Undertaker. It's just like...
Yeah.
And I had Shawn and Razor.
Yeah, and I mean, Undertaker and Kurt Angle are two very different styles of wrestlers, but they had like fucking awesome matches with Shawn Michaels. So
but when you think about WrestleMania, you think about Undertaker and you think about HBK.
Shawn Michaels, exactly. Shawn Michaels has always been great, but I think the reason why his in-ring work was so great from 2002 onward in particular was, I think it has probably a lot to do with him coming clean. And, he was notorious back in the 90s for having a huge ego and not wanting to put other people over. And I think by the time he come back, obviously he'd gone off like drugs and alcohol. He was like a born again Christian, and like he was there to get it done. And I think he'd probably come back with a much bigger appreciation for his craft, especially like what would make you appreciate it more than thinking you would never be able to wrestle again. It was like a second chance for him. So he made the most of it, and they pulled punches in this match. Like, Triple H delivered backbreakers to him, this guy who just come off a back injury, and I think when we talk about like Shawn Michaels' most iconic opponents, you have to put Triple H in there. They were a great team and great enemies as well. And they never had really a bad match between them.
No.
And that was no exception.
I liken it to today, and I'm going to get an Adam Cole plug in here. I liken it to today with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, like, they're best mates from way back in the Indies, and now you see them putting on matches together. They can go together as Undisputed Era. or they can go against each other, just like Triple H and Shawn Michaels did. You know, it's just the chemistry you have with the people that, one, you trust, and two, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Punk and Joe. You know, if you could see those two go at it again, if you've seen their work in Ring of Honor, you'd go, holy shit.
Yeah, even the sort of, like, it's been done to death, but just in the fact that their chemistry is so good, they can have a match tomorrow and it would be good.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, you know,
Sami Zayn, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Similar kind of thing. Whereas you just feel like, oh, we could always put you guys together. And for a while there, they had that going with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins too.
Yeah.
For a bit as well, where it was
even
like
Gargano and Ciampa.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, there's another example. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but I think also, you know, with Michaels, he was like, him and Triple H were really, like, I know Triple H nearly washed his hands of him at one stage. So I think he was just happy to be able to come back and do what he loved doing.
Bailey Sasha is another pairing.
Yeah.
The thing that's also, all right, I'll watch this again. Like it's even at its worst, it's going to be pretty good. So
the thing I also found amusing about this match is it was like an unsanctioned street fight match or something. And like
jeans.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like the universal rule of street fights back then was to like wrestle in jeans or something other than your attire, which HBK got that memo, but Triple H just wrestled in his normal attire for some reason.
Yeah, he's like, no, this is what I wear on the street.
Yeah, this is
the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut, with me and Pete Gas hanging out at the ice cream stand.
You know, one moment I really remember from this match was Triple H was on the announce table, I think, and Shawn Michaels is climbing up the ring to jump on him, and he just stands on the turnbuckle and he just like the, you know, I'm loony, I'm psycho, and then he just jumps, and it's like, yeah, well, that's just one thing that sticks in my mind from that match.
Yeah, and just the real quick ending to it as well, where it's just like, fuck, it's over. Like, if I remember correctly, he rolls him up. Or is it a small package? Rolls him up or small package?
Rolls him up. Yeah. Like a monkey flip type thing over.
That's right, yeah. And you think like, holy fuck, he did it. And then, of course, Trips hits him in the back with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Like, it's not over. And then, which again, similar in a way to the Angle Austin thing, in the sense that, like, it ends on a downer for the hero, but at like pretty soon after, like HBK got the world heavyweight title in the elimination chamber. So
that's right, with his short hair.
Yeah, that's right.
The bob.
Yeah. So it was
and
like
the brown pants, which he'd never wore before.
Yeah. So it sort of did follow that, not the formula, but, you know, long-standing rivalry, awesome, like fucking full-on, like nothing left in the tank match with not a screw job ending with HBK, but he does get fucked over at the end of it because he wins, but then he ultimately, like, Triple H walks out on top. But that's okay, because in a couple of weeks the babyface is going to get the title. So it's sort of, and that then made that moment bigger, because you're like, fuck you, Triple H, that's what you get, you know, like, it's all that kind of shit. So
I never expected HBK, like, because I remember, you know, I was watching week to week back then, and I liked that lineup for Elimination Chamber was huge. Like, off the top of my head, there was like Jericho, RVD, HBK, Triple H. I'm sure I'm missing someone else.
I think Booker T.
I think you're right. I did not expect HBK to win, because, you know, like, obviously he had this feud going, Triple H ongoing since SummerSlam, you know, and I thought, you know, they would probably find a way to eliminate each other or something. And that was a huge moment for him to win, because it showed us, like, all right, they're actually making him the guy again. Like, this isn't just a one-off kind of appearance and see ya, I'm going home again. Like, you know, he's going to be around for a while. He's
back properly.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I had this on when we did our best returns show. I had this match, because, like, I remember the promo just before it on must have been SmackDown, but or Raw. I might have been Raw because they might have had the brand split then. And Triple H saying, Shawn Michaels saying, you know, like, well, I've never been in an unsanctioned street fight match before, but I'd never been in a ladder match before either, and I won that. And I've never been in a Hell in a Cell match before, and I won that. And he's like, and hell, it's only been 4 years. Like, how rusty could I be? So he was like, he was giving himself all these outs where it's like, look, guys, if I suck, this is why. But then, and then I'm watching the match, and it's like, well, they're gonna, you know, because this is 2002, and this is after WrestleMania of 2002, where Austin was like going against the NWO and stuff. And it's like, well, Nash is gonna get involved. He's gonna powerbomb Austin. It's like, he's not gonna powerbomb Austin. Austin's not taking a powerbomb with his neck. No. So what's gonna happen? Yep, and there it is. He got out of it, and he didn't get powerbomb. So I kept thinking, like, they're gonna tease all these things, like, you know, Shawn Michaels is going to jump off the top right. No, he's not. Triple H went and Ric Flaired him, basically, you know, like grabbed him and threw him back in the ring, and like, oh my God, he's going to like put him through the announce table. No, he's not. He rolled out of the way. And then this kind of shit. Like, we're going to tease the fact that we're going to fucking attack his back and potentially like fuck him up for real. But then in the match, they did all that shit. And it was like, fuck, like what has he, like, where has he been? If, like, what was wrong with him? Like, for him to come back, with and take such a, I know it's all work and all that, but even in the sense of taking a beating in the match, like in the worked, you know, scripted way they do it, it's like, yeah, but that's still going to hurt his back if he's got a back injury.
That's right.
With, like you said, even just the backbreaker move, it's like, yeah, okay, it's not the damaging move that it's portrayed to be, but in real life, it's still going to hurt your back at some point. And if your back is fucked, it's really going to hurt your back. So just the nature of the match really surprised me. Like, holy fuck, they're not holding anything back. They are going berserk. And I mean, he probably did more dangerous things in that match than he had done in any match he had with like Bret Hart or Undertaker in Hell in a Cell and all that kind of stuff. So
but we don't know how good his back. Well, you know, like it was probably been good for a little while.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, just to be able to come back, you know, like just shit like that. I mean, I don't think you're going to see Edge taking, you know, tombstone pile drivers.
No,
you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, hang on, guys, I'm back, but don't fucking drop me on my head, you know? But and Brian and stuff, you know, like, but yeah, so that's what impressed me. It wasn't just that he came back at full, like you said, almost better than ever. So yeah, so no, I had that on my list too. I'm happy to keep that one as a shared. Yeah, me too. Shared final pick, which means we could probably go through. I don't know. Do you have any? An honorable mention? Yeah. I got one. What do you got, Steve? When the Ultimate Warrior beat Honky Tonk Man for the IC title. Yep. Honky Tonk Man was IC champ for 450 odd days, the longest reigning Intercontinental champion of all time. And then, you know, Ultimate Warrior comes running to the ring as he does. What does he do? He shoulder tackles him and then gorilla presses him and then pins him. So it was over in like 30 seconds. Yep. So as a kid watching that, it was pretty cool. Yeah, my friend is like, Ultimate Warrior is still like his favorite of all time. It's just untouchable. It is. He just but you can see why, because shit like that was cool. Yeah. And like you said, it wasn't like, oh, he finally lost the title in like this big knockdown drag out match. It's like, no, Warrior came in, destroyed him. Fuck you. Yeah. But it was supposed to be someone else, but they were taking out kayfabe and they were replaced by the Ultimate Warrior. And because he was a big roided up guy, Vince liked him. See a pattern here over the years? Yeah. Oh, of course. He's roided up and he's not bald. Give him the title. Give him all the titles. Give him everything. As we say, Vince frosts it. Yeah. He does. He does. He likes his He-Man action figures. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He wouldn't like
Life
Um,
size.
He
Life
likes-
size.
Yeah, that's right.
I will name an honorable mention, and I will just say it may not have been an honorable mention if it wasn't for the fact I was there. It's the first WWE pay-per-view I've been to overseas, and it was so much fun. It was SummerSlam 2015, Undertaker versus Lesnar, and that was their rematch after Lesnar beat the streak.
Oh, cool. I
And
didn't
it
know
was,
you were there for that.
yeah, I was there. I was there at the Barclays Center.
God.
And yeah, it was a bit of a clusterfuck, honestly, but it was so much fun to watch and like be there and feel the energy. And people these days still like talk about or post memes of when like
That's the
Lesnar's
laugh
sitting
one,
up
isn't
and
it?
laughing,
sit
and then
up,
Undertaker
yeah.
gets
That's
Yeah.
right.
I still remember that moment because I had pretty good seats, but I wasn't like on the floor or anything. So I was kind of looking between the ring and the Titantron to see things in close detail, and like it went really quiet, and then there was just laughter, and I had no idea what happened until I watched it back.
Oh gosh.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That was a good match.
Well,
I
Greg,
remember that.
she's been to one more pay-per-view than we have.
Yep. She didn't
What's
She didn't go to Monday Nitro though.
well,
No.
do you count like Super Showdown as a pay-per-view at the MCG?
Yeah,
Well,
that was a
yeah.
pay-per-view.
Yeah.
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 So 2 more then, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Stacey's the best. Fine, whatever.
We just need to get that GoFundMe created, Greg, for our WrestleMania trip.
That's right.
when COVID stopped.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
The AT3 Get Us to WrestleMania
World Tour.
Kickstarter 2027.
Yep.
When we're on COVID 28.
Yeah.
Yeah,
by
we'll
that
get
time,
some t-shirts made up with like dates and like locations on the back.
yes. By that time, Tyler will be old enough, so I have to take him too. So we'll have to include him as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna have to give
Fuck him. It's
empty your
83.
pockets.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
Oh, that Tyler's awesome. I'm going.
You know what he said? Sorry, can I just? You know what he said to me
Yeah.
tonight when I said we're doing the SummerSlam one? He goes, "Oh, are you going to do the one where Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of John Cena?" I'm like, I was thinking about that one, but
It was
just
pretty
didn't make
good.
the list. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I had as I wasn't sure whether I would use it or not, but I thought if not, we'll go honorable mention because it's not a match, but just the whole Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth, in quotes, marriage.
Yes.
Just because, like now you look at it and it's like they're already married and they're probably getting divorced in 5 minutes time. But it was like back in the day, it was like they got married. Yeah. It was like Superman and Lois Lane getting married. Or something like that,
Yeah, that's right.
So, and for Savage to have been, like the babyface and the heel and the fucking psychopath heel, and then turning back around and the reunion and then get married and all that kind of shit. So, because then you check the Snake and Undertaker involved and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah. One more real quick. I thought you might have had this one, Steve, which was 1992 Bret Hart Bulldog IC match at Wembley.
I chose the Henning Hart one instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was either that or that, but I chose that one.
So I looked at that too, and I was like, but perfect. He's one of my guys. So.
Did you? I was when I was reading about it, I was actually shocked. Apparently the Bulldog was blowing up after about 30 seconds. Like he just had nothing, and he was high as a kite. And Bret Hart called that whole match from start to finish in the ring, and basically telling the Bulldog how to act, like what facial expressions to use. Just everything. Bret Hart really took control, and I know he cops a lot of shit now because he's a cranky old man, but he was one of the best technical wrestlers ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's just one of those guys. He's just got no, like, he's just, what's the word? Like, it's not that he doesn't have a sense of humor, but like, he doesn't, but like,
he does.
It's like he's just one of those. He's just one of those people that like there's a word for it. I can't think of it, but like he just takes himself too seriously.
Oh yeah.
And it's there's nothing wrong with that, but like he's there's a word for it, but I can't think of it. But anyway, well that's our top 3 of greatest SummerSlam moments. Stacey had the Cena v Punk match from 2011, which was a fantastic match. Guest referee Triple H, and of course we end up getting the aftermath with Kevin Nash taking out Punk and Del Rio cashing in. Steve and I both went for, like we said, the Bret Hart Mr. Perfect match from 1991, which is one of the best technical matches you'll ever see. I went for Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon in the ladder match from 1995. And Stacey couldn't go past Shane's first holy shit debut with Steve Blackman, where he falls off the Titantron to, many a gasp in the crowd. Steve, you had the very first TLC match in the year 2000. I went for a year later when Angle and Austin had their WWF title match. And of course, all 3 of us were, what can you say? We were synced with the Shawn Michaels return versus Triple H in the unsanctioned street fight in 2002. But I mean, there are plenty more awesome SummerSlam moments. And I mean, even something like Brock Lesnar, like busting open Randy Orton, I think something like that,
that was cool.
You wouldn't say it's like the best thing ever, but like just, it was such a moment. It was like, holy shit. But I mean,
look, I'm always down to see Orton getting his head kicked in. You know that.
Exactly. But among things like that, obviously, if you have any of your favorite SummerSlam moments, please let us know. And you can let us know by tweeting us at our Twitter account at ToppyOz3 at Aussie Top 3. I'm at Greg T13. Stacey is at Little Sherby, and Steve is at Stinger57. Of course, all roads lead to at the Steel Cage, and head over to the Steel Cage shop, where of course there's a variety of t-shirts, and you never know, there might be another one popping up soon from your favorite Aussies. Yes, but
Aussie Toppies.
That's it.
Aussie Toppies, yes. And don't forget to get your CM Punk ice cream bars.
Hey, did you see someone put one on eBay for like $1,000?
No. What? Are you serious?
Fucking nerve.
Ridiculous. I want it, by the way. Can we bid for it, guys?
No, that money is going toward our WrestleMania pool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
God. Okay, I'll take one for the team. It's all right.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us for another episode. But that is it for episode 24 of Aussie Top 3. And until next time, we'll see you next time.